Hello everybody. I was going to do another fusion project, this time using some beech trees. I ordered these from a company online. They were supposed to be 18 inches to 2 foot tall, which I thought would be thin enough and flexible enough for a nice little fusion project. But the trees actually arrived probably closer to 3.5 feet tall, and I haven't got very much in the way of flexibility around them, not even some of these thinner ones. So I'm still going to carry on with a fusion project, but it's going to be slightly different than I imagined. This is the form I had created and anticipated using. I will have to put this way in the shed because these trees are just not going to wrap around this portion very well, and instead I've created this. I don't know where you can see that. My idea is I am going to attach the trees top and bottom of this form, and then using their own taper bring them up to make an apex. Now I don't know how well you can see that shape. It's sort of squashed and skew-iff and fairly random. Otherwise, if it was perfectly round, I fear it might end up looking quite a lot like a traffic cone, which I don't think would be that attractive, and it's not what I'm after. So I'm going to start attaching a few trees using some wire. I've picked out a couple of thinner ones to go into these sort of crevices, and I will just attach that like so, and then continue working around till I've covered the whole thing, and then we'll plant it in a pot. And hopefully be able to guide the tops to a nice apex. We will see. It's just an experiment. I have no idea whether this will actually work, but I'm going to give it a try. If nothing else, I'm going to enjoy myself fiddling, and what the heck, keeps me out of trouble, huh? Okay, so that's the first tree attached. You can use your imagination at this point as to where I'm going with this, whether it'll be successful, whether it'll all fall apart. I guess time will tell. This is going to get more and more unwieldy, I imagine, the more trees I attach. We'll see what happens. It's also going to get more and more fiddly. But again, it's a bit of fun, passes some time, keeps me out of trouble, and at the end of it I might have something halfway decent. That's the hope. So again, I'm sure you can see this kind of basic principle of how it will all come together, tapering up to the top. And I'm going to stop recording now and just get on with this, because otherwise I think you'll get very bored watching me do it, and I'll come back a bit further along into the process. Okay, nearly an hour in, and I'm thinking this is possibly going to be an unmitigated disaster, but I'm going to carry on. Once I've got these attached to the form and I've got the plants in a pot, so I'm not worried about the roots drying out, I can take my time with the top. So that's back to it. Okay, so this has been getting more unwieldy and difficult the more trees I've been attaching. So I've actually cut the form open, and I will attach the tree as if I were making some kind of fence, and then attach the form back together again. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, so that's all the trees attached. Well, all bar 5, which I've kept back for another project. That one will probably be online before I finish this one. But at least I can get these roots in the ground now. I've had to shorten the form slightly if I run out of trees before I run out of form. I'm now going to try and attach this back together into a circle and get it in a pot. Okay, the form's all going back together. It's fiddly, it made it. I'm now going to get this into a pot and move on to the next project before coming back to this one. Well, a number of gaps, but hopefully as the trees fuse over the next 3 or 4 years it will fill in. At the moment it just looks like the end of a witch's burn, but I'll keep working on it and we'll see how we go. Okay, so you're looking at the bottom of the root ball. This is the pot it's going to go in. You have to excuse me, but I've got a bit of a cold at the moment. So I'm going to create a bit of a mound in the centre. You've seen all this before, I'm sure. And then I've selected this to be my front. Just there, like so. So I'm going to try and fill in around it, and then go in from the top and actually get some soil down around the roots in the centre. I may have to make up another batch of soil. I'm not sure. We'll see how this goes. I imagine these trees will stay in this pot 2 years at least, maybe even 3 years. At that point I may reevaluate front and back, depending on how well the tree has done. For now, I want to get it potted and make sure that the roots don't dry out. And then I can continue working on the top. Okay, not quite sure how I'm gonna get this angle, but bear with me. If I can just pull apart some of these trees, I can actually get some soil down through the hole in the middle. That's my plan. I hope you can see what I'm doing. It makes sense to me, but I have got a better view. Okay, if I move the camera in a bit closer, you can see I've pulled apart here, and I'm getting some soil right inside. Hopefully get all the roots covered. I'm going to have to mix up a bit more, and I'll come back to you when I've finished. Okay, so that's the trees potted and watered, and I don't need to worry too much about the roots drying out, anything terrible happening because of that. So I can now begin to concentrate and take my time working the tops of the trees. The first thing I'm going to have to do is remove all the dead leaves, which is probably going to take me quite a bit of time. But it's not a terrible job, it's quite a relaxing job. I will also take out any side shoots that are growing inwardly, and then I will gradually, using the tree's own taper, begin to pull the top in. I may wire some branches out like that to increase the taper. They would be tied into, say, this point, and then the branch will be allowed to grow outwards. I don't know, that will be very much flying by the seat of my pants, as they say, but safe in the knowledge that I've got a couple of months before spring finally springs, and the trees are happily potted, not going to dry out and die on me, and hopefully I can turn this witch's broom head into something else. My next step is to use up the 5 trees that I left over, which, as I said before, that video will probably be up sooner than this one, but I will continue working on this and post this video once I have something that looks more like a tree and less like a thicket. Hopefully it won't look too much like a traffic cone. It may end up looking like the witch's hat to go with the witch's broom, and we will see. I'm going to have fun doing it anyway. Okay, as you can see, I've been happily plucking the leaves from these trees. I'm doing this for about half an hour now, and not even halfway. But also, whilst I'm at it, I'm trying to identify any branches that are obviously going to be inside the structure, such as this one. obviously they're not going to benefit the tree in any way, as they're not going to be able to grow properly inside there. They're not going to get enough light. I'm trying to leave branches that can be used as side branches, or sacrifice branches even, to help fatten the trunk. This branch just here is going directly back inside, so that's coming off. There's another branch just down here which is growing back inside. Again, I'm going to just snip that off. That will also help balance out the fact that I've removed some large portions of the root, give the trees a better chance to establish themselves. So I'm going to continue through doing that with all of the trees. Another one just there, going back inside. And I'm also trying to identify places such as here. I have the main trunk going up and a fairly substantial side branch here. That's pretty much going to get in the way of tying those together. So I'm going to remove that. Can. Like so. I'm going to continue doing that all around the tree. There'll be more branches to remove at the top where it's definitely a lot twiggier. Again, where I've got two branches, or two leaders, I might take it down to one to try and get that taper. As you can see, I have wired in these three trunks. This one will need to come back through, across into that space, like so, and I will continue around the entire tree until we get to the top, and hopefully we'll achieve some taper and it won't look like a traffic cone. We will see what happens. Okay, so that's removed about 95% of the leaves. A few bits have dropped down inside. But thing now is I'm going to continue removing some of this excess material at the top and begin tying in at the bottom, making decisions of which branches to keep and which to lose as I go. You can see one right in there that's going to be inside. I don't know if you can see that. Maybe. Here I have two, pretty much two leaders. I'm going to keep the longer one, even though it's not as straight, because this is nice and flexible. I'm going to take that out, like so. Some of these bigger pieces will probably need to come off as well. I think I will continue the tying in, trying to get taper at the same time, and remove bits as they get in the way. As I said earlier, it's very much a case of flying by the seat of your pants and seeing where we end up. At the end of the day, I might not have a very good fusion bonsai, but I will have had fun, and if the worst comes to worst, I might be able to just dismantle it and have 50 or so individual trees again. see what I've been doing. I've gone through all of the trees and I'm actually joining them in groups of 3. They haven't cooperated terribly well, some of them. I've got some big gaps, and I think I'm going to have some big gaps when I'm done. But by grouping these together in 3s, it's made them slightly more manageable. See, I'm thinning them out as they reach the top. And obviously the tops will hopefully all come together like so. And to take its course as they grow. It's taken me quite a long time to get this far. I've still got a number of trees to put together into groups of 3 and thin out some of this jungle at the top. And I can try and join them all together. Okay, I'm not sure how well this is going to show up. I'll work my way around from here to here, wiring each group of 3 trees to the next. Quite a number of gaps, but they will fill in as the trees grow and hopefully fuse. I've had to resort to using a thicker gauge of wire in a couple of places just to try and eliminate particularly big gaps, as these are not straight trees to begin with. So I'm going to continue wiring these across like so. And then sort out the apex when I get out there. At the moment I've sort of joined them to this height. Step back a little bit so you can see where we are. I'm going to leave most of these side branches on to help photosynthesize and produce energy over the next coming years. Here we are then, finally, after some sweat and tears, nearly tears, definitely some blood. Let's scratch my fingers to pieces a bit. We have the final object, and as I feared, I think Goopy's agreeing with me. It's looks a little bit like a traffic cone. Give a little sort of 360 my mind has gone completely blank and I can't think what the spinning thing is called. Turntable, just come back to me. Anyway, this is what I've ended up with. I'm going to trim a few of these branches back where they're kind of crossing, interfering with one another. To take it back to a bud if I can. Do it once that time. I'm not going to remove too much. I've removed quite a lot from the tops as I was tying in the top, so hopefully that will compensate for the amount of root I've lost getting it into this shallow pot. And the trees grow away happily. Hopefully the next couple of years. And fuse. Time will tell. We'll probably not revisit this tree until the autumn.